Hey, so I'm gonna play Dragon Quest 11, and as you can see, I'm playing it with a complete Japanese translation mod. That means that not only are the voices Japanese, but also the text. The reason I'm doing this is, first, I just really love the game, and I wanted to play it again. Second, I really want to improve on my Japanese language skills, and I figured the best way to do this is probably just to play something that I like and study while doing so. Now the method is a little different. I'm just going to play the game as if I could understand everything, and luckily I've played the game before, so this is essentially my second playthrough. I know at least the main story. And I'll try to understand whatever I can understand. I try to read everything I can read. Now I won't be translating things. I think that would be pretty disruptive for the playthrough to keep translating everything. But I will be using the recordings afterwards to just go through every dialogue, to look up the word, look up the kanji, write them down, and then study them. So that's my method. I've done this a little bit before. I think it works really well. It does require a lot of work, but it's a good motivation because you get to play a fun game and you get to just learn more. Another thing is that aside from this translation mod, there are also a few other mods that I'm using. One, for example, is music mod that changes or replaces a lot of tracks. So you will hear a lot of different themes in areas that you didn't expect. There are also a few graphic mods used, because when the game was ported over from the PlayStation to the Switch and then came to PC, we got the Switch version. And that Switch version had a lot of downgrades in graphics, so the quality is pretty bad. The first time I saw the game I didn't really like it too much. But a lot of these mods that I found, they really improve on the graphics. They are really aimed to restoring or even improving on the original PlayStation 4 graphics. So with that out of the way, I hope you enjoy this playthrough. And let's make our save. So we're gonna be named Tenko. My character doesn't really have a canon name, so whatever you like. And we're gonna go into the Shibari Prey, which are the challenges. Listed here, I have beaten the game before with 4 of them. The first one is Kaimono Dekinai, which means you can't shop. And not being able to shop is quite the increase in difficulty. I would say maybe about 20%, maybe more. And essentially it means you can't buy any equipment, you can't buy any items such as healing items, and you also can't buy any materials you use for crafting. For the actual game difficulty, it just means that you're not going to be able to just upgrade everything all the time. You're going to be running around with outdated gear, and that just will make the game a little bit harder. Now, in this playthrough, I will not use this option because, first of all, I'm a bit of a completionist. I want to get everything, and for that you need to be able to buy something. But it's also kind of mainly a convenience thing, because these crafting materials that you can buy, you otherwise have to farm them, gather them, steal, etc. And while this is really super fun, I'll just don't want to do it this playthrough. Second option is probably the hardest one you can pick. It says that you can't wear any equipment except for your weapon. So no armor, no accessories. Makes the game incredibly hard, very punishing, but it's really an option for a masochist to use. Because first of all, you're gonna have very low defensive stats, but you're also not going to be able to counter a lot of things that you would with accessories. And that's kind of where I think this setting here is just not that fun, because you can't really strategize and counter stuff. If it was only armor and only lower defense, maybe? But the way it is, no. And the third one is, I think, a must-have. It just means that you have a natural limiter to how far you can level. So it just means that that enemies at lower levels of you just don't give you any experience. And essentially it just makes sure you don't overlevel, make sure you don't try to bypass difficulty by just gaining more stats. And it's really well balanced, it works for the game, and it's actually pretty hard to overlevel, so you'd have to really intentionally grind a bit. So it's just a safety net for me. This one, the fourth one, also absolutely a must-have. It's just kind of, I think it's 20% stat increase for all the enemies. Just creates the difficulty that it needs to have to even be fun, so that's good. Then these two are pretty bad, I would say. They give a random chance to your main character or the party to essentially lose a turn because they are too shy or they're embarrassed. And they just go through this silly thing where they just don't attack or don't do anything that you want them to do, and they just lose a turn. It just adds RNG to your gameplay, so not fun. This one is just a gimmick thing where NPCs just tell you sometimes lies, you can easily pick up on them, there's a sound theme playing. It's silly, but not needed. And the last one is, I think, also an essential. It adds some extra difficulty, some extra layer to it. And it does, it means that you wipe when your main character dies. So you have to make sure the character is always healed up, you are buffing him, and you just have to make extra care that he doesn't die, because then you wipe. You could bypass it if you wanted to, but, you know, we actually want to play the main character because he's really good. But also, we don't want to bypass challenges. Because if these things didn't exist, the game would just be way too easy and wouldn't be that fun. So we're gonna pick these three. You can pick the no shopping if you want to. You could also pick it, play through the game, get the little star, and then turn it off. If that's what you want to do. But yeah, for now I just want to play it like this. Then we're gonna play a 3D mode. 2D mode is pretty cool, because it looks just, you know, the retro graphics, but as you can see, you get random encounters, and I'm just not a fan of random encounters. We're gonna pick 3D mode. Next, Japanese language, obviously. We don't need to change any of these. Brightness is fine. And with that, we have created the save file, so next thing will be a really amazing cinematic, so enjoy that.
間違いあるまい。 なんと赤ん坊がこんなところに。あの嵐の中無事でおったとは。笑っておる。ん？もしやこの子は。ああ、よしよし。一人で心細かったじゃろ。もう心配いらんぞ。
ありがとね。大切な儀式の前にスカーフが風に飛ばされちゃうなんて、私ではほんとドジだよね。ついにあの岩を登る日が来たんだ。あんな高い場所、私に登れるかな。ルキが私たちを案内してくれるみたい。さあ行こう。
Okay, this is probably going to be a lot better. The game sets itself to max volume for music, so it's probably a little bit loud. We got some freebies here. Baby Boar set, the Showdown set, Happy Adventure set, skill seeds and some miracle. And then we 3 more skill seeds. We're playing the demo then, which I would suggest anyone who doesn't have the game and is interested, play the demo. It's obviously free. It's the first 10 hours of the game that you can play, and I did it too. I wasn't sure about the game at first, but I played the demo, still wasn't sure because I didn't really like how it looked. But after I then, especially after I got some of the graphic mods going, as well as changing some of the INI settings, the game started to look so good. And also after 10 hours, if you don't like the game, then it's probably fair to not buy, but I really started to like it already. Hey. Oh yeah, the quests here. Let's see where the setting is. There. Just so that they are not in the way. Then I got some of this free gear, which is quite nice. Makes me look a lot better. Alright, maybe I can turn the music one higher. Nothing else. Let's get going. Now, like I said, I won't be translating these things. Again, it's too disruptive for the game flow. If I wanted people to understand what's said here in English, I would probably just play the game in English. It just, pretty much just for me to have all these sentences on the screen. I'm reading through them, And these, for example, are pretty easy still. But there are so many that I wouldn't be able to read because I just don't have the kanji or the vocabulary knowledge. And that's exactly why I'm going to use the recordings and just sit down, look everything up that I don't know, write it down into a list, and then study that list till things just stick.
「我ら医師の民、大地の精霊と共にあり」か。おじいちゃんから聞いたの。あの神の岩には大地の精霊様が宿ってるんだって。小さい頃からずっと16歳になったら神の岩に登って大地の精霊様に祈りを捧げなさいって言われてきたけど、こんなしきたり誰が考えたのかしら。一人前になる前に崖から落ちて怪我でもしたらどうするのよ。でもあなたと生まれた日が一緒だったのが唯一の救いね。一人だったら絶対めげてだもん。それじゃあ行きましょ。魔物こっちに来るわ。
Got a first fight here against a couple of slimes.
気をつけて。
Now, first of all, I can set out the battle speed. I like fast. I also go very fast, but for now I think fast is perfectly fine. And the other thing that you can set is you can either have a little bit of a free running option, or you just stand and just use the menus. Now the free running doesn't actually do anything at all. There's no dodging. This is a very classic RPG turn-based combat system where you just input your commands and then go for it. Now the only difference is that it's not group-based, but every character and every enemy is able to attack individually. It's quite bad. You can't see the order, however, because it's partially, at least partially, it's determined by chance. So your speed stat is what determines who goes first, but I think there's also some kind of randomness to it, a small chance.
びっくりした。あなたとルキのおかげで助かったわ。小さな魔物だったから運が良かったわね。ねえ知ってる？神の岩の頂上へ行くには洞窟を抜けていかないとダメなのよ。さっきの魔物、あの洞窟から出てきたのかな。ちょっと怖いけど、あなたが一緒だしへっちゃらだわ。
Now the combat does get more complex in what you can do, and especially because it does get hard, relatively hard. That you really have to take care of what you do, that you have to utilize your buffs, your debuffs, status afflictions, and all these things. And it's absolutely fun. For a turn-based system that is pretty simple, it's really fun. But I wouldn't say it's the very best, even like for this kind of style. There are other games that have done something similar, something with a little bit of a twist, like the Grandia system was really good, and some others, but this definitely holds its own. Here's another tutorial. As you can see, you can just hit an enemy before you engage in combat, and you'll get a little bit of free damage on them. It doesn't determine who goes first. It's more or less random. So whether you run into an enemy or the enemy happens to run into you doesn't make a difference. But you can just get this little bit of free damage in. that. Probably also a nice idea to give some healing items to your characters. You actually have to do this manually. So you have a bag for equipment, you have a bag for usable items, and then you have each character has their individual inventory. And if you want to use items on your character, then you need to have them in the character's inventory first, which you can only do outside of battle. However, inside of battle, you can, for example, change your equipment if you have it in your inventory. It doesn't cost a turn or anything. You can always flexibly swap in case you want to have a different weapon that maybe has some different abilities. And that's pretty useful.
気をつけてね。おめでとう。
Alright, learned a new waza. Is Mera, a simple fireball. I'll also try to not talk too much, at least not when the game speaks for itself, so any cutscenes or anything. I'll keep it to a minimum.
見て、真っ白だわ。霧がこんなに。助けてー。気をつけて。はあ。この調子。
I only make use of Mera here because it deals the most damage to a single target. At least in this fight and in the early game. These guys hit pretty hard, so you would definitely go down if you didn't have ammo to heal you every turn. Who knows, maybe you can even go down.
これで。
I guess not.
元気出して。
Luckily, she also heals our MP.
大丈夫？
Alright, that was easy.
ごめんね。先回りしてエマ姉ちゃんを驚かせようと思ったんだ。でも魔物に襲われて。そうよ、変よね。神聖な神の岩に魔物が出るなんてこと今までなかったのに。それはそうとダメよマノロ。こんな危ないことしたら。さあ、ルキと一緒に村に戻ってなさい。うん、分かったよ。ありがとね。あんな怖い魔物を倒しちゃうなんて強くなったんだ。もう少しで頂上だね。やだ、雨が降ってきたわ。急ぎましょう。
There's a jump button too, which is kind of useful in some situations, but it's nothing really big. I don't remember there being any dumb puzzles or anything that really requires one. It's just a nice thing to have. You gotta get far further up.
惜しいな。天気が良かったらきっと絶景が見れたはずなのに。早くお祈りを済ませないと。助かったのね、私たち。でも不思議だわ。まるであなたが雷を呼んだみたい。その技は一体。あら、消えちゃったわね。何だったのかしら。いっぱい助けてもらったわね。やっぱりあなたが一緒だと私心強いわ。さあ、早いとこお祈りを済ませましょう。我ら医師の民、大地の精霊と共にあり、ロトゼタシアの大地に恵みをもたらす精霊たちよ。日ごとの糧を与えてくださり感謝します。どうかその大いなる御心で悠久の大地に生きる我らをこれからも見守りください。うわー、すごい。世界ってこんなに広かったんだ。このしきたりを考えた人、きっとこの景色を見せたかったんだね。それじゃあ儀式を終えたことおじいちゃんに教えてあげましょう。みんな私たちの帰りを待ってるはずだわ。
It's a really nice view. A little bit simple, but it definitely shows you just how big the world is. So Vicky and Manaro made it back safely. It's good. I'm gonna reunite with the villagers.
ただいま、おじいちゃん。
おお、二人とも無事に帰ってきて何よりじゃ。神の岩に雷が落ちたから怪我をしてないかみんなで心配しておったわい。 頂上で何が起こったのじゃ。そのようなことがあったのか。まさに奇跡というほかあるまい。きっと神の岩に宿りし大地の精霊様が二人を守ってくださったのじゃろう。ところでエマよ、神の岩の頂上から何が見えたのかわしに教えてくれるかな。
ええ、見渡す限りの海が見えたわ。お日様に照らされてキラキラしててね、あんな光景初めて見たわ。
この世界ロトゼタシアがいかに広大かを石の村しか知らぬお主らも分かったようじゃな。お主らはまだまだ若い。もしかするとこの村を出て羽ばたく時が訪れるかもしれんからな。このロトゼタシアの広大さをわしは儀式を通じて二人に伝えたかったんじゃよ。さてそろそろ村に戻るとするかの。お前の母ペルラにも儀式を終えたことを教えてあげなさい。
ああ、よかったわ。安心したわ。
二人も一人前だな。
私たちも行きましょう。
Such a comfortable little village. Just how I like it in my RPGs. I think I'm gonna set the music one down after all. Right, there are a few items to collect. Nothing really special, just a few gold, a few healing items, but I like to get everything. Also, the game, or the playthrough, I should say, will be done completely spoiler-free. So I'm not going to spoil anything that's going to happen. You can just enjoy the story as it comes. What I can say, however, is that there will be the ability to spot items. At least it tells you that there are items in the vicinity, doesn't tell you where they are. There's a red door here. Pretty fancy. And apparently I need a key to get through. So let's keep that door in mind for later, whenever we get a key. This is the shop. Can I jump up here? And you have items in these barrels, which you can only get one of, but there are also certain items that respawn, which are these blue shiny spots. I believe. Let's see, we don't have a map here. There's the church. We'll be going there to heal up, not to heal up, to cure certain things, also to resurrect, obviously to save. You can also remove any of the challenges in the church, but once they are removed, you can't put them back on, so you can only get them at the start of the playthrough, so make sure that you don't forget about that when you create your save file. Because like I said, I think the game would probably be a little bit too boring in terms of combat if you played it without any of these. And you could argue that it could even be a little bit stronger. Just sad that the only other option to make the game stronger also kind of takes a lot of things out of the game. Like not being able to shop means that you just lose access to a lot of things. It's inconvenient.
Yeah.
And of course the other setting with the no equipment is a little bit too crass, so it's really a masochist option. So if you really are into challenges, you really want to have get your ass kicked every time, die to just RNG things that you don't have any control over, and would like to just wipe and retry things over and over until they go well, that option will definitely be something for you. I like a good mix, and it's always easy to make up your own rules in case you want it to be a little bit harder. Like, for example, what about no items in battle? Could be something. You can't use any items, that means you don't have any access to full heals, in case they exist. I don't even remember if they do. Probably the most important one that I could think of now, probably just restoring your MP in battle, so you have to be a little bit more reserved and smart about your usage. But that's obviously one thing you can do. Other things, you could remove one equipment slot if you wanted to, like no headpieces. If you wanted to be a little bit harder, just make a challenge up where you can't maybe wear any armor, any headpieces, maybe only one accessory. Or maybe one accessory that you just can pick, but you have to stick with it. Is it blue spot too? But there are a lot of ways to make the game more challenging if you want to. No headpieces actually sounds pretty interesting. It's a small change, but it will probably make a nice difference. If I did this now, I would lose not too much, but well, 1 defense, 2 MP, 4 charm.
おかえり。無事成人の儀式を終えたようだね。村中で噂になってるよ。うちの息子エマちゃんの足手まといにならなかったかい？
全然。
ねえペルラおばさま、聞いて、すごいのよ。神の岩の頂上でね、私たち魔物に襲われたの。私なんて崖から落ちそうになっちゃうし、本当にもうダメって思ったわ。でもね、その時あざがピカーって光って雷が魔物に直撃したの。まるで彼が雷を呼んだみたいに。
Absolutely beautiful voice acting here.
なんだって？あざが光って魔物を退けた。そうかい、そんなことがあったんだね。
And all of the voice actors in this game are really S tier, highest quality.
考えないようにしていたけど、おじいちゃんが言っていた通り、運命には抗えないのかね。ついにあのことを話す時が来たようだね。これを受け取りなさい。あんたが成人の儀式を終えたら、その首飾りを渡すようおじいちゃんに頼まれててね。
Now if you paid attention, this is the necklace that his mother was wearing.
実は16年間、村のみんなにも言わないでずっと黙ってたことがあるんだ。あんたはね、勇者の生まれ変わりなんだよ。
勇者？
勇者が何なのかわからないけど、あんたは大きな使命を背負ってるっておじいちゃんずっと言ってたわ。あんたが成人の儀式を終えたら、北の大国デルカダールに向かわせてほしい。そして王様にその首飾りを見せたとき、すべてが明らかになるだろうって。だからね、あんたは勇者の使命を果たすため、この村を出て デルカダールに行かなきゃいけないんだ。
そんな。
そんな。
さあ、明日から当分会えなくなるわ。今夜お母さんがとびっきりおいしいご飯を作ってあげるからね。
What a shock. Finally finding out that you are the Yusha and that you have such a big duty and such a fate in front of you. As a 16-year-old. And yeah, obviously the baby that was found in the water is our main character. Full moon night. And there's Emma. Hello, Emma.
あら、あなたも眠れないのね。私もよ。なんだか眠れなくって。ねえ、この木覚えてる？子供の頃、この木にスカーフを引っ掛けて私大泣きしたんだよね。でもあなたは何とかしようと村中を駆け回ってくれてそういえば成人の儀式の前にも同じようなことがあったっけ？私、子供の頃からちっとも変わってないわね。私ね、あなたはこの村でずっとみんなと穏やかに過ごしていくんだろうなって思ってたの。だから勇者の生まれ変わりだってペルラおばさまから聞いた時はとても信じられなくてびっくりしちゃった。あのね、おじいちゃんから前にちょっとだけ聞いたことがあるの。遠い遠い昔、世界中が魔物に襲われて大変だった時、どこからともなく勇者が現れて世界を救ったんだって。そしてその後勇者は星になって今もこの世界を見守ってるらしいわ。ほら、あの星よ。あなたが勇者か。なんだか信じられないわ。でもデルカダールに行けば全てがわかるのよね。さあ、もう自分たちの家に帰りましょう。みんな心配しているわ。じゃあね。
Oh, Emma. Sad. Looking good.
本当に立派になって、その姿おじいちゃんにも見せてあげたかったわ。忘れちゃダメだよ。あんたは村で一番勇敢だったおじいちゃんの孫なんだからね。この先何が起きてもあんただったら乗り越えられるってお母さん信じてるわ。だから頑張ってくるんだよ。そうだわ。花向けとしてあんたの荷物の中にお金を入れておいたからね。デルカダール王国に向かう前に村の道具屋でしっかり旅立ちの準備をしていくんだよ。さあ、村のみんなもあんたの旅立ちを見送ろうと集まってるわ。準備ができたらあんたも来るんだよ。
Got some money from mother. That's nice. There is a purple marker and a pink one. The pink one is just for NPCs that have some tips regarding where you should go, what you should do. But the purple one is a quest. And it's a very simple quest. It just introduces the quest system of itself. And as it so happens, we already have what he requires from us. Because it was a feather that was blown onto our roof. みんなに優しく。どうQuest complete. Right. Then time to go to the store. We got some cash to spend. Let's see what they got. Alright, a stick, a shield, bandana, abibito no fuku, yatso, dokeso. Nothing we really need. No upgrades. Already got this, got something that is at least as good, got something that is better. No need.
こんなにも早く旅立ちの時が訪れるとはな。お主の祖父テオにもその勇姿を見せてやりたかったわい。テオがお主を拾って、いや連れてきたのは確か16年前じゃったの。ごく普通の子供だとばかり思っていたお主がまさか勇者の生まれ変わりとはの。勇者とは伝説の英雄。その昔大いなる闇を払い世界を救った人物と聞く。お主がそんな大それた人物の生まれ変わりだとは到底思えんが、まあテオが言うならそうなんじゃろうな。デルカダールの王様に会ったらくれぐれもこの村のことをよろしくな。勇者様を育てた村ということで王様から何か褒美がもらえるかもしれんからな。
村長、そりゃはしたないですって。
はははは、冗談じゃよ冗談。ともかくこの先お主にはわしらでは想像もつかぬような運命が待ち構えているかもしれん。故郷を離れ旅に出るお主にこのロトゼタ市への地図を授けよう。道に迷った時はこれを見るのじゃ。よしよし。この馬もお主に授けよう。村一番の器量よしの馬じゃぞ。村を出てまっすぐ北へ向かえばデルカダール王国じゃ。
あんたは自慢の息子さ。辛いことがあってもくじけずに頑張ってくるんだよ。
元気だぞ。
これ受け取って。昨日あなたが旅立つって聞いて急いで作ったの。デルカダール王国は村を出て北にあるわ。村の外は魔物が出て危険だから、そのお守りをしっかり身につけていくのよ。どんな使命があるのか私にはわからないけど、どこにいてもこの村のこと 忘れないでね。絶対に元気で帰ってきてね。
And with that, I am on my way. Got a map, a horse, and a little umamori from Emma. Does Emma no umamori? To get a little bit of defense from it, as well as a 30% curse resistance, I believe that is. That's pretty good. Right before we head off into the wild, probably best to save here. Since it is an old school RPG, you have to manually save. But there's an autosave function as well, so whenever you change areas, you do get an autosave, so you don't have to be too concerned. But it's still nice to make your own saves. Plus, it's a good opportunity to make a cut here. So I want to keep the uploads at about an hour, maybe 2 at max. Otherwise, the file sizes are just going to be way too large. So we're going to pray. That's 57 minutes. Okay, so far so good. Beautiful beginning. Great starting cutscene. We got the exposition out. We know who the character is. Really cute little starting village. And yeah, next time we're gonna be on our way to Del Kadar to meet the king. So until then, bye bye.